Morning, boys and girls, and happy Friday. This week, we are happy to announce our positive office referrals, and this will be our last week for positive office referrals, and we look forward to next year where we can do this every Friday again. So let's get started. First up is Colin in Mrs. Graves' class in 3rd grade. He has been referred by Mrs. Button. Colin submitted a beautiful design of a flower with contour lines, excellent color choice, and marker work. Great work, Colin. Javian in Mrs. Laviolette's class was referred for a positive office referral for continuing to work on his writing and math skills from home. He's also doing a nice job of sharing his work with his teacher each week. Warren from Mrs. Savageau's class gets a positive office referral from Mrs. Cooney for doing a great job learning all the songs posted on the weekly learning boards. Stevie in Mrs. Berard's class for being a remote learning rock star. Mrs. Berard and I am so proud. Gianna from Mrs. Kate's room was referred by Mrs. Button. Gianna submitted pictures of her solar oven build. Her oven temperature exceeded 120 degrees in 30 minutes and cooked her s'more to a delicious melted confection. Great work, Gianna. Chase in Mrs. Graves' 1st grade class has been an absolute superstar through the entire remote learning period. He has completed his assignments, attended all Zoom meetings, and shared his adventures from home. His work ethic should not go unnoticed. Way to go, Chase. Edward in Mrs. Bean's class for being so responsible with remote learning and actively participating in Zoom meetings. Mrs. Specht has referred Nora for a fabulous job on all her remote learning assignments. Nora went above and beyond this term. Mrs. Specht and all of us at Wire Village are very proud of your efforts. Jax from Mrs. LeBlanc's class continues to put great effort in all remote learning assignments. Cody in Mrs. Durant's class gets a positive office referral for his great dedication and hard work this week. Miss McPhee has referred Tucker for doing a great job checking out their Google Classroom, his emails, and for attending most of their Zoom meetings. Mrs. Perrin has referred Gavin from Mrs. Balunis' class because he comes to all Zoom meetings and is engaged. He does all assignments asked of him, emails his work, and even does extra credit work. Addison, in Mrs. Graves in 3rd grade, has been doing a fabulous job working from home. She is completing her work and participating in their Zoom calls. Great job, Addison. Caleb in Miss Moraine's class gets a positive office referral for doing a terrific job completing assigned work and for increasing his participation each week during Zoom. Miss Jones has referred Riley. She has been at every Zoom meeting they've had. She has done all the work Miss Jones gave the class and even more on her own. Everyone is so proud of her. Ryan in Mrs. Reeves' class for his exemplary participation both in their Zoom meetings and Google Classroom. Mrs. Perrin has referred Breanna from Mrs. Laviolette's class. Breanna comes to all Zoom meetings and is engaged. She does all her assignments asked of her, emails her work, and even does extra credit. Leah in Mrs. Kate's class is always actively engaged during their Zoom meetings. She asks insightful questions and is willing to share her thinking with her classmates. Andre in Miss Nelson's class attended many of the online class meetings and has been turning in a lot of work. Mrs. Savageau has referred her entire class for a positive office referral. The whole class has worked so hard during remote learning. So proud of each and every one of them. Mason in Miss Hester's class for his excellent effort on his erosion experiments. Brian in Mrs. Balunis' class for his excellent job with his remote learning and completing an exemplary Flat Stanley report. Mrs. Brunette has referred Breanna. Breanna has completed 814 minutes on Lexia and several kindergarten choice board activities every week. Eric in Miss Majidi's class for his participation on weekly activities, even when he cannot attend Zoom meetings. Mackenzie in Mrs. Brunette's class gets a positive office referral. She completes choice board activities and always sends many pictures every week. Abigail in Mrs. LeBlanc's class has been working hard in completing remote learning assignments. Fiona in Miss Jones' class gets a positive office referral. Fiona has attended every scheduled Zoom meeting. She participated in their conversations and shared many things. Fiona did all the work assigned with great effort. Way to go. Mrs. Perrin has referred Andrew from Mrs. Savageau's class. Andrew comes to all Zoom meetings and is engaged, always works hard to do his best, does all assignments asked of him, and emails his work. Mrs. Cates has referred Gianna. She has done an outstanding job completing her STEM activities. She is always eagerly willing to share her projects with the class. Vanessa from Mrs. Bean's class for being so enthusiastic about learning throughout the entire remote learning process. Miss Mulrain has referred Lauren for doing a great job completing assigned work and nice participation during Zoom meetings. Olyvia-Lynne in Miss Laviolette's class earns a positive office referral for completing all learning opportunities from home since the school closure. She has stayed committed to remote learning and her hard work is paying off. Great job, Olivia. Mrs. Perrin has referred Jake from Mrs. Balunis' class. Jake comes to all Zoom meetings and tries his best to be engaged. He does all assignments asked of him and emails his work. Nolan from Mrs. Graves' class in first grade had a great week and finished strong. He attended both whole group and small group Zoom meetings. Nolan did a wonderful job of sharing his written work and reading his tree paragraph to the class. Miss Magidi referred Jamison for sharing his great ideas. Mrs. Specht has referred Austin for his excellent focus and participation with all of their remote learning assignments. Austin has done a fabulous job this term. Jackson in Mrs. Savageau's class gets a positive office referral from Mrs. Perrin. Jackson comes to all Zoom meetings and is engaged. He works hard, does all assignments asked of him, and emails his work. Mrs. Reeve has referred Meaghan for her exemplary participation both in their Zoom meetings and Google Classroom. Mrs. Graves in third grade has referred Chris. Chris has continued to work hard from home. He wrote a well-written letter to next year's third grader. Great job, Chris. Miss Hester has referred Jackson for his measurement Olympic work. Mrs. Balunis has referred Gracie for her excellent job with her remote learning and completing an exemplary Flat Stanley report. Mrs. Berard has referred London for a positive office referral for consistently participating in remote learning opportunities. Miss McPhee has referred Tianna for doing a great job checking out Google Classroom, her emails, and for attending most of their Zoom meetings. Mrs. Reeve has referred Snake for his exemplary participation both in their Zoom meetings and Google Classroom. Boys and girls, we hope to see everyone next Thursday, our last day of school, for our reverse parade. Our families are asked to meet at David Prouty High School in the parking lot at 10 a.m. to create a line of cars to come to Wire Village and say goodbye to the teachers. The teachers look forward to seeing you and waving to you and wishing you a wonderful summer. Our theme is a luau theme, so get creative. We can't wait to see you. We still have 4 days left of school, but I want to wish everyone a wonderful summer. We've had a great year and we look forward to next year.